Today, we're going to be talking about what does a vacation rental property manager do? What does a vacation rental property manager do anyway? Whether that will be you or whether it will be a full service vacation rental property management company, it is important to know what to look for so your vacation rental runs smoothly. And throughout this video, I will break down all of that for you and even share with you some pointers that have made a big difference in my vacation rental properties. Property management for vacation rental properties is a different animal compared to traditional real estate or rental properties. It's constant turnover and quick fixes to keep the property operating at its highest potential. Managing your vacation rental property the right way or having the right firm to manage your vacation rental property can mean all the difference in the world. So I want to jump in by first explaining the different ways to manage a vacation rental property. Secondly, I want to transparently give pros and cons to both. And finally, I will give you some tips that have really helped me when it comes to self-managing our vacation rental properties. If you're ready, let's go. So what are the different ways to manage your vacation rental property? Well, first off, you could hire a professional full-service property management company. And what do? They usually do it all. They market the property, they book the property, they do payments, they do guest reviews, they communicate with the guest, they hire maintenance people, they fix problems. They literally do it all. The whole goal of that organization or that property management company is to do everything so you don't have to. They understand that your time is your most valuable asset. So the last thing they want to do is put a lot of things on your plate. That's why you're paying them a large fee to manage the property so you don't have to do anything. However, they are spendy. I've seen it range from 10% to 40%. Now, 10% might be for a group that's highly competitive and they have to keep their costs down. 40% are for those areas that maybe are a little bit out there. They've got to travel a little bit more. The cleaners have to travel farther, the maintenance people have to travel farther, or things are more expensive in that area because it's maybe a vacation type area that no matter what you buy there is always more expensive, and so they're going to charge a little bit more. And I've seen examples of both. Now we have, out of our 6 vacation rental properties, we have 2 of those that are managed full service. But the ironic thing is, the one we have in Florida only charges us 10%. The one close to Yellowstone National Park charges us 25%. And they both do the same thing, right? But Florida's a very competitive market. Island Park, Idaho, close to Yellowstone, services aren't all there together. If you can imagine in Orlando, you can probably get services a lot cheaper than you can close to Yellowstone National Park where things are going to be more expensive. But they do a great job for us. They handle everything for us. We have enjoyed working with both organizations. After, a full service company is what I call half service management companies. And those are companies like Evolve or Vacasa. And what does half service mean? Well, exactly like it sounds, half service. They do half of the things and you do the other half. So what do? Well, they do the bookings, they do the reviews, they do guest communication. There's portals that you can log into with those organizations to see your calendar, to see different things, different metrics, numbers, financial aspects, financial reviews of your vacation rental property. But they don't handle other things like the cleaners, the maintenance, or other things. Now, they have contacts for cleaners or maintenance people that they'll put you in contact with, but it's your responsibility to contact those people, to handle the cleaning on the turnover, to handle any maintenance issues. They mainly just handle that front-facing or customer-facing stuff that typically you're not able to. And because they do that for a lot of different companies, they have a lot of different ways and a lot of different platforms that they can market it on, besides Airbnb and Vrbo. And the costs vary with these as well. Now, Evolve charges 10%. Vacasa charges 25%. We actually used Evolve for the first little bit on my Blue Ridge property in Georgia, and I actually thought they did a really good job. But it got to the point where we were thinking, man, I think I can manage this myself. And even though they're charging 10%, the property's doing $80,000, $85,000 a year. That's an extra $8,000 to $10,000 to drop to the bottom line that we don't have to pay. And if we can keep annual rents close to what they were doing, and their first year, I think they did 81. Our first year, we did like $76,000. And so it wasn't that far off. And we made up that money by self-managing, and a lot more went to our bottom line. However, the difference between like a Vacasa that charges 25% or an Evolve that charges 10, I really can't tell you what the difference is. Maybe there's a few more things that Vacasa offers that they don't, but both groups are half service and they do a great job. That's why they exist. That's why people utilize them. But full service seemed to work better for us in at least those situations. Which brings me to the last thing, which is self-management. And self-management means you do everything. You do the bookings, you post on Airbnb, Vrbo, guest communication, you handle everything associated with a property. That is where you're going to put a little bit more time into it. But there's a reward. You don't have to pay those 10 to 25 to 40% fees of somebody else managing your property. And you know, when I first took this on, because we had, even in Broken Bow, I had managing that company at 25% and I had Evolve at 10%. I bought a new property close to the one in Yellowstone. I decided to self-manage all of those properties. And I thought it was going to be really difficult. And there was challenges challenges. Don't get me wrong. There are things that made it difficult, but it wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. And that's because once you get a system down and you understand how the systems work, it becomes less and less stressful and a little bit easier to maintain. So what are the pros and cons of each? Obviously, it comes down to time and money. If you're a person who values your time more than anything else, and you have the funds and you're willing to pay the extra money, have a full service or a half management company take care of your properties for you. But if you value your money more than anything else, and the profit to the bottom line is what's most crucial to you, then I'd recommend self-managing. And as I mentioned, usually a lot of the work is front-loaded, meaning that you've got to find cleaners, handymans, but there's ways to do that I'll share with you here in a minute that make life a little bit easier. But once you have the systems in place, once you got a cleaner in place and you can communicate with them and they know when to go in and you have a good turnover from guest to guest, it does run fairly smoothly. Now, are there challenges that arise? Absolutely, but there's challenges that arise in anything that you do. And is it worth the extra for us on our Island Park property? Is it worth the extra $30,000, $35,000, $40,000? Absolutely. So it depends on what you value most, time or money. And either one you decide, you're gonna have challenges on both. But ultimately, we've seen, and I've seen, where self-management has been better for us than the full management. Unless like our Orlando property, they're only charging us 10%. I'm happy to pay the 10% to let them do what they do. They do a great job. As you see, I'm probably a fan of the self-management, unless you can get a really low management fee and they do a great job. Now, here's some tips for self-management that will help set you apart and help you have the best experience when it comes to managing your vacation rental property. Tip number one, on the platforms, Airbnb, Vrbo, be quick to respond. Now, understand how important this is. When somebody is looking to book your property, I promise you that they're looking at 2 or 3 or 4 other properties. So they might have sent somebody a message before you and they just sent you a message. If you can respond right away, the chances of them booking your property go up drastically than if you responded an hour, 2 hours later. So if you're self-managing, understand the quicker you respond, the better chances you are of staying booked and increasing your occupancy for the year. Now, I know this can be a challenge, right? If you're out with family or you're at a family event and all of a sudden a message comes through, needing to respond immediately on your phone can sometimes be challenging. And I'm not saying you have to do it every single time, but a majority of the time, if you respond quickly, good things will happen. And if you let your family know, say, listen, this is my business and me responding quickly is vital. It only takes 15, 20, 30 seconds to respond most of the time. And so it's well worth it to be able, and a lot of times it's on your phone. And if you enlist notifications, you click on the notification, you respond really quickly, boom, you're done, it's over with. The second thing is get on all the local Facebook pages for where your properties reside. This has been a game changer for us in 3 of the markets that we've been in: Broken Bow, Oklahoma, Blue Ridge, Georgia, Island Park, Idaho. Being on some of those forums and those Facebook groups has helped us find cleaners, maintenance, handymen, and it hasn't even been close to other ways to find those things. We got on there one time, we lost our cleaners in Georgia and said, we're looking for quality cleaners. And literally, we got about 20 messages within an hour of high quality individuals that we're able to interview and finally select a cleaner that was right for us and our vacation rental that was close to us. And it's been an absolute game changer. So being on local Facebook group pages that are in the area where your vacation rental resides is absolutely crucial and an important tip when managing your vacation rental property. And last thing I'll say, the last tip I'll give you is when somebody does book your property or they have certain questions, I like to save all my responses and all the answers to all the questions I ever got on a spreadsheet or on a document that I can share with a buddy of mine or my partner on the property, that if somebody asks the questions, we can go ahead and just put that response in there immediately. It saves time, energy, effort. One thing that I like to do as well that I think makes a difference when people book your property, I send out a welcome response. And that welcome response not only welcomes them, but it gives them all the details they need to check in, but also it actually goes and gives them the best things to do in the area that they're staying, right? Because people are staying there, they want an experience, they're on vacation. If you give them all the things that they can do and it takes all the stress out of it for them, that is going to increase your reviews and things that'll benefit you more than anything else. When they book with us, we give them places to eat, places they can rent things in the area, activities to do. And one thing that I do specifically for my properties, on every single one, I have a segment called Hidden Gems. And these are places that maybe most people won't know about, or things that they can do that most people won't know about. I've done a lot of research. And like I said, it's front loaded with doing this research, but once you have it, I've had many people respond and be like, the place that you recommended to go under Hidden Gems was absolutely amazing. So those are some things that we've done to really set ours apart, and that makes a world of difference when managing our vacation rental properties. But I'd love to hear what you've done. What are some things that have set yours apart, that have made yours really stand out? And as always, I've got a free gift for you. When it comes to vacation rental properties, you have to have a vacation rental calculator that analyzes the property for you. And I'm giving you access to one at no charge, no gimmicks, no frills. Just click on the link below, aaronsfreetraining.com, and you'll have full access to the same vacation rental calculator that I've used to analyze all of my properties. Once again, thanks for stopping by. Have an amazing day.